early bow season, deer are feeding heavily and often. Does are gaining weight after having fawns and maintaining nutrition to support them, while bucks are feeding heavily in order to bulk up in preparation for the upcoming rut. There's a high probability that you may jump deer as you make your way to your tree stand. If this happens often, make a mental note on when and where you're jumping these deer. This may be a place you want to put a tree stand in the hopes of bagging that buck.
I'm going in this afternoon, and it's amazing what 2 days difference that will make in the temperature. I went in Saturday and it was in the low 40s. Highs only got in the 60s, and last night it only got down to probably 59, and the highs 75 today, so it's hot. So we have got, I want to say, a 1.5 mile hike. So we're just going to take our time. We're dressed lightly. I got some other clothes packed because I know I'm going to be sweating by the time I get there with carrying all this gear. So we're going to get there, try to get everything set up, and see if we can't do some good on this afternoon hunt. This is the area where I found the feeding acorns were falling, and it's just as close as I can get to the bedding area right now. So we're going to try this out and see what happens, and hopefully I've packed enough water to get up there. Okay, I made it to the parking area, and I'm getting ready to hike into public land. It's about, like I said earlier, a little over a mile, but I want to show you how much gear I've got to take in. Tree stand. Here are the tree steps. I elected to take those instead of the climbing sticks because the climbing sticks are so much heavier. Here's my pack. I got quartering bags just in case I shoot something. Got my bow, and I've got my camera gear bag, which has got the 4K video camera. It's got the tripod in it. It's got the camera arm that goes on the tree stand in it. And then obviously I'm holding GoPro in my hand and I'm doing all this video on. So I need to get started. We're gonna go in there this afternoon, and the wind's coming in from the south, so it's really good for this setup because it'll put me in a crosswind situation. I'm based on what scouting sign that I saw in that area. It looks like the deer are coming from the west. So I believe they're bedding up in there close to those creek areas. It's hot in the summertime, so it's just the opposite of winter. You know, you're looking for those south facing slopes. You're looking for areas in the summertime where it's cool. So that's what we're going to key on. So we better get started. I just jumped a deer, so they may be moving a little earlier today. And my original plan was to go to an area where I dropped a pin on a video we did for some early season deer scouting. But I think I'm going to abort that mission and make that hike in 2 steps or 2 stages. So since the deer are already moving, there's another area up here that I've hunted before. There's good acorns in there. So I'm gonna circle around, go in, get set up, at least get a hunt out of tonight. And then hopefully what I can do is come back in, I'll take my stand down and then go further back in where I had planned on going. But sometimes, you know, you gotta adjust. You gotta be flexible, and you adjust on the fly. So if the deer are moving, you know, sometimes it's better just go in and get set up, at least get a hunt out of it versus pushing everything out just to try to make it to your stand site, you know. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna ease on in pin here. I probably got another, I don't know, 300 or 400 yards, and then hopefully we'll get set up. It's still been extremely dry. Usually these little creeks coming down off the mountain have several inches of water in them. As you can see, they're about dried up. So if this trend continues, it might be a good idea. We're going to focus on a spring that's got some additional water. If the deer aren't getting enough, you know, water out of the food supply they've got now. But from what I've seen, a lot of the lower story vegetation's dried up. So we just have to keep that in mind. Plus soft mast, we'll get quite a bit of water out of eating apples. We've already pinpointed that one apple tree, so we'll keep that in mind too. Okay, we made it in here. You can see the shelf right through here. See how flat this is? It turns off steep down this side. So what I'm anticipating, what I'm hoping, is the deer are going to come down, work their way down through here and go to those oaks. But here's what I'm running into. The wind is changing direction on me. I don't know if you can see this or not. And it's blowing back in that way, which is really the wrong way. But I'm anticipating the deer coming from up above over here. So I'm going to try to position myself in the stand. See, now the wind's just really swirling in here today. I'm not getting a really good reading on it. But I'm going to have to play it to the worst case scenario. So it was actually blowing that way. So any deer that's coming from that direction, it'll catch my scent. So I'm thinking I'm going to circle around and get down here. Or if I get the wind blowing back up that holler, then I'll get over there. I just got to be careful because in the afternoon, with the thermals, the cold air is going to pull the air down. So I don't want to be above the trail. I want to be below it in case the deer come out that late. So we're going to ease in there and try to get set up. All right, I'm walking back out. Got in there about 1.5 miles, I think. I have to go back and look at my pedometer, I guess I should say. I'll have to take a look at my phone and see how many miles I actually hiked in. But I finally got into the spot we had pinned back during the early season. And unfortunately, when I got in there, the deer were moving early this afternoon, and I jumped 3 deer. Now, I did see one late. I couldn't get anything on video, so we got peppered. You remember what that means? If you watch some of my turkey hunting videos, that's an acronym I came up with after years and years of futile effort sometimes. It feels like you go in, you can't find anything. It's called perseverance, endurance, persistence, practice, exercise, resiliency, expectation, and diligence. So you get peppered every time you go in the woods, and every now and then we'll get to pepper something. We got to just stick with it. That's one of the things about deer hunting, just like turkey hunting. You got to be willing to persevere a little bit. So we're going to hike the rest of the way out of here.